Hello, player of the Cookierun card game, greetings to everyone. In today's video, I'll quickly explain how to use a blue deck to defeat a yellow deck. For those of you who have been following my recent videos, you might recall that I've already shared some tricks and tips about this topic. By now, you probably understand that the blue deck can easily take down the yellow deck. However, some new bakers still seem unsure about playing sherbet cookie early in the match with a blue deck. Wouldn't it make more sense to start the game with a level 1 aloe cookie? I can definitively say no. On the contrary, you should begin by playing a level 3 sherbet cookie. Why? I've tested numerous matches using both aggressive and standard tempo strategies. The conclusion is clear. When playing against a yellow deck, the aggressive approach has a much higher win rate. The standard tempo strategy should only be used if your initial hand doesn't include sherbet and strawberry. Although the yellow meta deck is a tier 0 deck in set 4, it has two critical weaknesses. 1. It relies too heavily on the functionality of level 2 cookies, making them prime targets for Strawberry's control skill. 2. Its tempo is slow and usually doesn't work effectively until the third turn. On the other hand, with the aggressive blue deck strategy, I've outlined 5 tips in a previous video. If you're facing a yellow T0 deck, here are some tips and experiences I'd like to share with you. 1. In your opening hand, prioritize keeping sherbet, strawberry, and ice cream and play sherbet cookie in the beginning. 2. If your opponent has level 2 cookies with 3 or more HP, such as snack fruit, sparkling, or chuo, use strawberry's control skill to send them back to the top of the deck. You can chain this with ice cream to use the skill consecutively. 3. Make sure only level 3 cookies enter your opponent's break area. 4. If by turn 4 you still haven't drawn strawberry, consider playing another sherbet cookie instead. 5. The longer the match drags on, the worse it is for us. Go all in with your attacks. From this analysis, it's clear that the most critical phase of the match is from turn 1 to turn 3. If the blue deck fails to give enough pressure on the yellow deck and disrupt its tempo during this period, the chances of winning will be greatly reduced. Alright. I will use the recent records from the Taiwan Cookierun card game Winter Cup to demonstrate this strategy. By showcasing actual gameplay, I hope to provide a clearer understanding of how the blue deck can effectively counter the yellow deck. In the Winter Cup finals, the blue player started with an excellent initial hand, enabling he to adopt the aggressive strategy. Blue player already had sherbet, strawberry cookie, and shark, whose effect allows he to draw 2 additional cards. Moreover, he also had a trap card to prevent sherbet from being easily feinted. On the other hand, the yellow player also had an impressive hand. The timekeeper cookie could effectively reduce the break area level quickly after Cho cookie was feinted. Since the yellow rarely goes on the offensive in the first 3 turns, the blue player had the option to start with either shark or sherbet cookie. However, if I were the blue player, I would just play sherbet cookie to avoid the risk of my opponent using the item card clay on the first turn. Okay, let's dive into the simulated perspective. The blue player ultimately chose to play shark cookie, marking the official start of the match. The yellow player went first and placed a card as energy, passing it to the blue player. In the blue player's first turn, he drew 2 sherbet cookies. What a wonderful drew! At this moment, he can almost boldly adopt a strategy with a break area composition of 3+3+3 to reach level 9. Or break area composition of 3+3+1+1. At level 9, he could play 2 sherbet cookies for a strong offensive move. and Shark Cookie's card drawing effect also supports Sherbet Cookie's attacks, enabling consistent damage of 3+1. In the yellow player's second turn, he drew Millennial Tree Cookie and another Cho Cookie. At this point, he had 3 level 2 cookies ready for the mid-game. By Millennial Tree and Timekeeper's skills, he could repeatedly reduce the break area level, maintaining a tempo favorable to the yellow. However, the yellow player chose to place one of the level 2 cookies in the support area and passed the turn. During the blue player's second turn, he drew Salt Cookie and Ice Cream. This was a critical moment, as the key item card for his aggressive strategy, Ice Cream, was finally in hand. As I've mentioned before, if you have both Ice Cream and Strawberry Cookie, you can activate control skills when you have enough costs. If these 2 cards are not drawn by turn 4, you can instead play another Sherbet Cookie, continuously delivering up to 8 damage per turn. But, in the Winter Cup record, the blue player opted for a standard tempo strategy, using Sherbet Cookie to directly attack Cho Cookie. If lucky, Cho Cookie could faint after 2 attacks. However, if the yellow player had up to 2 trap card, it might take 3 turns to faint it. This means that the blue player would give the yellow player enough time to draw key cards. What a horrible thing! So, my personal advice when facing a 5 HP Churros cookie is simple. Using the strawberry skill is the best way. Of course, every strategy has its pros and cons, there's no absolute right or wrong. The aggressive strategy comes with its risks. What if the yellow player still has a 3rd level 2 cookie in hand? That's certainly possible. However, based on my tests, while the aggressive playstyle has its risks, it is still worth attempting. In the case of the blue player's chosen strategy, although they managed to resolve Cho Cookie with 2 attacks, the yellow player still had another Cho Cookie in hand. If the next Cho can survive 2 more turns, the tempo of the game will completely shift in favor of the yellow player, greatly reducing the blue player's chances of winning. So, let's back to the simulated perspective. I recommend adopting an aggressive playstyle to control the game's tempo by the second turn. If you had played Strawberry Cookie here, the outcome would have been quite different. Using Strawberry Cookie's skill to place Cho back on top of the deck would have forced the yellow player to replay Cho. Then, the blue player could then use the Ice Cream item card to activate Strawberry Cookie's skill again. You may ask, what's the difference here? Is it worth it? A significant one. You can see the pink circle in the video. And you'll notice that both of the opponent's Cho cookies would end up as HP cards for new cookies. This means that you are unlikely to ever encounter another 5 HP level 2 cookie. And the thick would allow the blue player to seize control of the game's tempo as he wish. Even if the opponent deploys a level 2 flip cookie, Sherbet can easily handle it within 1 turn. Now, looking at the yellow player's hand at this point, they're out of level 2 cookies. This means their options are limited to playing Kumiho Cookie or Millennial Tree. Although Kumiho Cookie can protect level 3 cookies from damage, the yellow player's break area setup would be disrupted. In an aggressive strategy, successfully pressuring the opponent to play level 3 cookies within the first 3 turns grants a significant advantage. If you draw Ice Cream in the following turns, I recommend continually removing 4 HP or 5 HP level 2 cookies from the battle area. This ensures that the opponent's rejuvenation effects can only be used on level 3 cookies. I hope this practical example boosts your confidence in facing the yellow Tier 0 deck. In the Taiwan Cookierun Winter Cup, I faced 4 yellow players in Swiss rounds, achieving 3 wins and 1 loss. My deck also included Mocha Ray to protect Sherbet Cookie for continued attacks, And I added whipped snow cream village to allow sherbet to deal 5 damage, enough to faint any level 3 cookie. This my secret weapon. In summary, I highly recommend testing this aggressive playstyle with friends, as it will help you better understand how to secure victory. Okay. Do you think today's video is helpful to you? If so, please help me click the like button on this video and share this video with other bakers. Thank you for patiently watching this video, and feel free to leave a comment with your thoughts. See you next time. Bye bye.
我是多虑，我们下一次再见，拜拜。